Hi everyone, my name is Man, and today we're interviewing Stephen Wong, and just I'll read out a little introduction on him. So he's based in New York City, and Stephen started as a life intimacy coach, certified in NLP therapy and relationship coaching, and he's trained under renowned coaches like Tony Robbins, and is highly experienced in the field. So Stephen is also helping the recovering community in New York City and London with his patient sobriety, intimacy, and relationship issues. He's also in recovery and is currently involved with helping out clients in sober homes with their sobriety. So his joy comes from helping his clients with the blocks that have kept his clients from fulfilling their life goals. And so Stephen is a decorated veteran in the military and is currently studying his psychology degree. Okay, so Stephen, hi, welcome.
What's up?
So I think the first question I want to ask you is in your introduction, you talked about blocks that people have, your
hmm
clients have. So what are the common blocks that you have encountered in your practice?
Well, the most common blocks that I've seen in most of my clients, and also the blocks that were in me, was getting more in touch with my own feelings, getting in touch with being completely honest and relate in all my endeavors, you know, and just not be in touch with myself, you know.
So do you think that like addiction is a little bit about running away from yourself?
Yeah, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it. I know in my personal experience, you know, I use my own addiction to run away from myself, run away from the world, hide from it, you know, not being who I truly am.
And is it in particular just difficult emotions? Do you think?
Yeah.
I find that in addiction, I found it very hard personally. I found it very hard to sit with difficult emotions. Whenever I have a difficult emotion, I feel like I need to change it. Immediately. Um, and sitting with it is very foreign to me.
hmm
So what are the challenges do you think when you did intimacy and relationship coaching?
Well, you know, for just to um, for the things with sitting with them with your emotions, especially the hard ones, like if your partner's making you feel really uncomfortable, it's like things are getting really tight in your body, and things are trying and they're trying to whack you out, you know. And I would say to my I was and I used to be like that too. I would just sit with the emotion, you know, as much as I can, and just let the emotion, you know, process out my own system, you know. And the first thing I had to do was, you know, learn to breathe, you know, take a few deep breaths and just sit with it and keep telling myself, no, this thing will just go away, you know, on its own. I don't have to change the feeling. I don't have to change what it is. I just have to let it flow out of my own body, you know, just let it sit till it flows out.
So what if your client says to you, but I can sit with it one time, I can sit with it two times, and if I have to sit with it 10 times, like if I have a partner that is an addict, for instance,
hmm
and I have to constantly deal with um, his addiction, how would you advise your client?
Well, if your partner has an addiction problem, then I would say just be as patient as much you can be, you know. And if the partner doesn't get help right away, you know, and keeps pro- procrastinate on getting help, then I would just say it's time to leave. Because
Really.
it's not good for you to stay in a relationship where the other person's constantly gonna be s- s- in his or her or their addiction. Because
Mhm.
a lot of troubles will rise up, and then things will go insanely nuts. Where things not gonna work out in the end because it's always the same thing. You gotta save that person, you gotta be there for that person, and like it gets tiring after a while. you know
So when you were in addiction, you were in relationships as well, right? I mean, how do you
yeah,
think that those relationships worked out or not worked out?
those relationships didn't work out. you know
But there are relationships that actually work out, huh? With an addict.
it it all depends on the person. If that person's strong enough, yeah, and the person who's an addict, right, keeps on doing it, and it depends on what side effects the addiction comes with, like anger issues, rage issues, crying, emotional issues, you know, or they just want to hide away or whatever, you know. If it's an anger issue and that anger comes out, I would just tell a person get the hell out, because I've seen addicts and who severely abuse their partners, both physically and mentally, and that's not great in a relationship. Because there's comes to a point where the other person is gonna feel like, oh, I'm less than, and then they feel like all their energy's been taken away, and they feel disempowered. You know,
So if a non-addict who has a partner who's an addict, and they wonder, they ask you like, why can he not love me enough to stop the addiction? What would you say? Like, why can't he stop for the children, for the family? Why can't he stop? What would you say to them?
I would just tell them that person has their own personal issues.
Mm,
It's not up to you to save them. They have to save themselves.
mm.
Because when when I came out of my own addiction, I did most of the work myself just to get to a point where I am today. You
Mm,
know, where I learned to be. I'm. I can't say I'm fully free out of my addiction.
mhm.
Because there's still that tiny little part of me that still that still thinks like an addict. So that part will never go away. But slowly and surely,
What do you mean by that? What do you mean, the part of you that thinks like an addict?
like stuff like anger issues, like if someone pisses me off, you know, then if it gets to that breaking point, I'll just go off faster than anything else, you know.
But isn't that normal? Isn't that what normal? Everybody has anger issues and a breaking point. I don't think it's just an addict thing.
Well, addicts take the anger to the extreme, you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
They
Okay.
don't they don't get mad like blah blah blah. It's like they will make the other person feel like the worst person in the world as much as they can, and they either lash out emotionally, physically, you know, or I would say sometimes sexually, you know, and you know there are some addicts that I've seen in my practice that they do rape their partners, you know, and the partner says no, that means no, you know.
So now we get to the intimacy and sex and the relationship part. So, what do you think is the one thing that you want people to know if they want to have a successful intimate relationship? Maybe three things that people should have, if they want a successful relationship. And also, what are the main three issues that you see that people fail in their relationships because of this?
One, complete honesty and transparency,
Mhm.
and the polar opposite of that is being dishonest. Like people who agree to have a monogamous relationships, but one partner decides, oh, I'm gonna find something a little better on the side, you know, and then they decide, okay, it's a good idea to cheat my partner, and if the other partner finds out, that's not being completely transparent, you know.
What do you say when people say, but that's the nature of guys?
Well, it's not only guys; it's also women
That's
too.
right. That's true. That's true.
So it's unfair to categorize one sex that's different from the other.
Okay. Fair enough.
Um, no, I would just you know I would just say be on be upfront, and honest with your partners, and
Okay.
just have an agreement. Like, okay, honey, you know, or whatever nomenclature you want to give to your partner. You know that have an agreement with them. Talk about it. Okay, can we have an open relationship? That way things are out in the open. Nothing's really not being dishonest. Things are transparent
Mm-hmm.
and things are clear from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And those agreements can change. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and like if the partner feels like they're being cheated on because you didn't tell them up front, you know, because if you're dishonest, you're cheating. But if you have agreement of having an open relationship, then you're not really cheating. You're just
Mm-hmm.
saying, you know, and be honest about who you're gonna be with. Just
So this is the difficult part because I can't imagine a lot of guys or girls being very upfront from the beginning about something like that. They will say, "Oh, I love you, and I wanna, be with you for the rest of my life." They don't. They will never say, "Honey, can I have an open relationship because I wanna sleep with other people?" People don't. People are not honest, I guess. From the beginning, like what you say, right?
it, yeah, and that's with being honest about who you are,
Mm,
as a person,
mm,
and
mm,
being honest. That's part of complete transparency.
mm,
You
mm,
know, be honest with who you are, what type of person you are, what your
mm,
needs are,
mm,
what your desires are, and
mm,
then you have to really tell that to your partner,
mm,
or else the relationship's not gonna work because your partner's gonna, wonder, oh, this person cheated on me. Oh, I'm gonna feel like this, that I've been lied to. And that's why people feel like they're hurt when they get cheated on because they didn't know from the beginning on who that person was.
mm, mm,
You know,
mm. So what's the second thing then besides honesty?
the second thing is, be in touch with who you are.
Right.
Be in touch with your emotions. Be in touch your with yourself, both spiritually and mentally.
That's
Because
not easy. That's not that easy.
I know it's not easy, but it can happen. It's like if you know you're feeling something, right, and you're being, you know, if you look deep inside yourself and you know you feel this thing about the other person, and and if you don't feel this way about your partner, then you gotta really tell it, you know. And partners gotta be you and your partner has to be complete on like completely honest on how you feel. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I always recommend I always recommend to my clients, have daily check-ins with your partners.
Mm-hmm.
You know, say I'm feeling this way, I'm feeling that way. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
that way because we're not mind readers, we're not psychics. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
it's like I'm I'm feeling sad, and I'm telling you, oh, everything's fine, honey. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and things are not fine. It's like, and that's giving you know, it's not, and that's also being not being with who you are at that moment.
So, what are some of the ways that people can get in touch with who they are?
Uh, just I would just tell them, what are you feeling right now?
Mm-hmm.
I would ask them how you feeling right now, and what are the sensations in your body that's
Mm-hmm.
connected to those feelings.
Mm-hmm.
If you're happy and then you feel like, and then your body just reacts being happy, and oh, I'm tapping my feet, and that means I'm happy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
As an example,
Mm-hmm.
or I feel this cool wave going up my spine, and that means I'm just feeling a little glum, a little sad, you know, and it's
Mm-hmm.
being and just noticing stuff about yourself,
Right.
you
Right.
know,
What
noticing.
What if your client says, if I tell the truth about how I feel, I might lose that person? You know, there's the fear of not being loved or not or losing. What is that a fear in general?
That's a fear in everybody,
Yeah,
not just partners with addicts.
sure. Not
You
just
know,
with addicts, just everyone. I'm talking about
you
everyone.
know, and you know, it's a two-way street.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be completely honest on two-way street. If your partner is uncomfortable with being honest, if you're uncomfortable with being honest with your partner, that is being completely honest with their feelings and emotions, then you have to figure out, because that means you're uncomfortable with your feelings and your emotions and where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
So just you know both sides has to be good with who they are, what they feel in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know and and if the person's uncomfortable, then just say I'm uncomfortable, dear,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. you
Mm-hmm.
know
Mm-hmm.
and if the person's an addict and they're really uncomfortable with hearing their partner's feelings and emotions, then I would say, you know go to rehab, go see a therapist, to a point. Learn to be comfortable with your emotions,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know or I would just and guide them and teach them to learn how to sit with those feelings
Mm-hmm.
to the point.
So, what's the third thing, do you think? So, one is being in touch with yourself, one is being rigorously honest. What's the third thing?
The third thing, know what kind of relationship that you want.
What do you mean by that?
It's like what I said before with the agreements. you know
Mm-hmm.
like what type, do you want to be a polyamorous relationship, where you and your partner can have multiple partners,
Mm-hmm.
you know or if you want to be monogamous, one side wants to be monogamous and the other side wants to be polyamorous. you know try to have some kind of sensible agreements,
Mhm.
you know,
Mhm.
and also, you know, and it's like know what you want in life and be okay with what you want in life.
Right.
And if your partner, it's like I can't say, "Oh, honey, you're the love of my life. I just don't want anyone else."
Mhm.
And I promise you, I'm not gonna chase any boy, girl, whatever,
Mhm.
or them, and just you know, and if your partner says, "Oh, I'm not comfortable with that," you know, and talk about it and see what comes up, you
Mhm.
know. And if the other partner doesn't want to deal with that, then I would say, you know, just break up the relationship,
Yeah,
because
it's not the right person, Right.
it's not, it's,
Yeah.
it's being right with who you are and being with the right partner that can actually be aligned with who you are,
Right. Right.
mhm,
Right.
and
I
not
think.
being
Mhm.
out of alignment. Because once it's out of alignment, no, if the partner is supportive, loving, you know, and love is not like love is a muscle that needs to be worked out every day.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's not
What do you
like,
mean by that?
well, for addicts, love is like a foreign concept. You know,
Why?
love is like a foreign concept for addicts because even though they experienced it, they never really done it. They never really gave it, you know. And for addicts, I would just say, have someone to love you where you can actually learn to love yourself. You know, you know, learn to love yourself by going out doing something good for other people. Or saying a compliment. Don't lash out at people. Be kind. You know, do things that make you feel good about life, rather than the complete opposite of being, oh, I'm going to do this and have a self-destructive behavior over again, like when I did when I was either drinking or using or whatever my addiction was.
Mm.
You know,
Mm.
and being kind in words, and don't judge people on what they do or say in life, just because for us addicts, because the ego and the pride saying, oh, I know better than you do, because the ego and the pride would just say, okay, you got to do it my way, you know, then I love you. You got to do it this way, and then I love you.
Mhm. Mhm.
And it's like, you know, having that love, that self love means once you learn to feel good by yourself, right, and do nice things to people for people or say nice things to people, you know, and it's like that's slowly building up the self love,
Mhm.
and doing things in a non judgmental way where you because first addicts got to take their ego and the pride out of the equation to know what love is. Because ego and pride, I say, oh, I'm a fitness instructor, so I know better than you do. So you gotta do it this way to get fit. And it's like, you know, the other person may not be able to be up to that level. So you can't expect them to be up to that level, you know. And that's judging them who they are, because that person could be the nicest person in the world, and yet you're putting them down.
Mhm.
And that's not loving. That's being judging, and then that's your ego saying, "Oh my, I know better than you." You know.
Well, I mean, I think that's not just of addicts. I think that's in general. Everybody falls into a bit of that category of needing to be right. And
Yeah.
in yeah, we always say, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy, right? So, and often, I personally, I don't think that like it is possible to say that all your judgments and egos and expectations can be removed. Do you think that? I think that that's quite a high tall order um, to expect of people, because we're just human, right? I mean, we're gonna have judgments and expectations.
Well, I know for me as an addict, I used to have a lot of expectations and judgments, and like those expectations fail, and guess what? I would feel bad, and then I would just go back out and use it, go back out and drink again, you know. And I tell all my clients, don't expect anything from your partners. Don't.
Do you think that's possible?
It's possible, and it's practice.
Mm,
You know, I can't
mm,
expect my partner to clean the house for me all the time.
mm,
If they want to, if one day they decide they want to go on vacation for 8 days or wherever time frame, and the house is not clean, I can't blame my partner for not cleaning the house because they're going on vacation. Let them enjoy themselves,
mm,
you know. And you can't you can't expect everything to be 100% all the time,
mm,
you know. And I tell my clients, don't expect anything out of a relationship. Just
mm,
do what you can on your part.
mm,
If you concentrate on your part, you
mm,
know, then that's all you need to do. Wherever your partner's part is, that's your partner's part.
mm,
And if your part is, okay, my partner's on vacation, now I gotta clean the house. Then you clean the house and do the cooking, wherever wherever's needed for that moment, you
mm,
know. And that's why,
mm,
and having expectations always is like expectations is always about fail. It's I always say expectations equals failure,
mm,
because no one's 100% perfect.